to take immediate action to shore up their defenses against potential cyber attacks. We've previously warned about the potential for Russia to conduct cyber attacks against the United States, including as a response to the unprecedented economic costs that the U.S. and allies and partners impose in response to Russia's further invasion of Ukraine. Today, we are reiterating those warnings, and we're doing so based on evolving threat intelligence that the Russian government is exploring options for potential cyber attacks on critical infrastructure in the United States, urging private sector.
Look, today my administration is issuing new warnings that based on evolving intelligence, Russia may be planning a cyber attack against us. As I said, the magnitude of Russia's cyber capacity is fairly consequential, and it's coming. The federal government is doing its part to get ready, but under U.S. law, as you all remember, the private sector, all of you, largely decides the protections that you will or will not take. But look, today my administration
urging private sector partners.
This is Dabu 7. We have confirmation here today that dozens of U.S. senators have been issued satellite phones to be used during an emergency situation. And this situation is what they're dubbing a disruptive event. Whatever that may be. Apparently, our senators are being told that something is incoming here right around the corner, and that these phones that have been distributed as part of a new security effort from the Senate Sergeant at Arms have been offered to every single senator in case of a big-time emergency. It's unclear exactly which senators took part in this, but they're saying that last month, Karen Gibson put this out and said that satellite communication will ensure a redundant and secure means of communication during a disruptive event. So the red flags are flying now, and the questions are coming in as well. What is the disruptive event? They obviously know that something is about to happen, and they're preparing their senators for such an event. You know, lights out, and as it says here, the phones will support security measures during an emergency that takes out communications in the United States. Folks, we've got a big event about to happen where the communication and comms are about to go down, and they are making sure that our senators have satellite phones to be able to deal with the situation. This is real deal. I'm going to break this down further on the live stream. Make sure to join me. Going live tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern. There's links below. Hit that subscribe button for more. This has been Dabu 7.
Hey, Shalom, Akim, Shalom. First thing and foremost, we give all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. We want to give double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect. Noise in the gospel abroad, lifting up the standard of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, wherever it may be. This is a quick lesson to the spirit. First video
to take
was,
immediate.
I think this came out like last year, March in 2022. Oh man, Slovakia. I think during the time of the war in Ukraine, there's been various threats that's been partaking from America and from Russia. Okay, NATO, the EU, as Putin attempted a suicide attempt, well, not a suicide, assassination attempt, to pretty much blame the Western hegemonies for that particular attack, which that shows you his desperation on wanting to destroy Babylon the Great, because the Lord is putting it in the spirit of the Medes to rise up against the Western governments, okay, which is NATO, EU, okay, America, which is the whore that spearheads the beast, okay, the 10 kings, which is the EU. Now, it says they tell you before it happens a coming shutdown. They've always screaming cyber war or some type of attack coming from either North Korea, Russia, or some other country, right? But see, a lot of times people, they fail to realize that America is behind the dealings of this ill on these cards, so to speak, man, because we understand that America has a history, or the West has a history of staging attacks, okay, going into sovereign lands, setting up certain narratives in order to push forth a wicked agenda. And the scriptures warns of this, man. Okay, scriptures calling the border of wickedness. Now, I was sporadically listening to a video. I believe it was last night. Going into oh man, Slakia, man. Fuck, I'm exhausted, man. A fucking tired demon. Slakia. But anyway, going into how America, I don't recall exactly what they said verbatim, but basically it was like they set up some type of invasion, or they did some type of military tactic in one of Russia's cities, basically that was not like it's acceptable to war, however the hell they put it. You know, my wording these days ain't been the best. I'm sure you Jake is dealing with a lot of mental fatigue, just the stress of this world, but it's all good because, you know, we gonna keep pushing. But nonetheless, they was basically stating that the West, they was basically attacking innocent or pretty much bystanding citizens in these cities. Okay, like America, right? That would be what they called not a post-war society, because this society has not seen war in this country, but you got post and pre. And allegedly, a video came out of like I don't know where it was at, but it was like some bombs that went off and shit like that, man. And I may cover it in the next video. But basically, man, allegedly they went over there to attack parts of their country. And now all of a sudden, they're getting ready for these cyber events, because in the second video that Dabu was going into, he was basically speaking of how these governments, okay, I believe it was like 50 or more government officials that had like these satellite phones, okay? And the purpose of satellite phones and uses of satellite phones is because some type of outage, some type of EMP strike, something that's dealing with electrical malfunctions, okay, that's going to cause the power or some type of disruption in this society to go abrupt, okay? So they're preparing for it. You see what I'm saying? So that shows us right there that Esau has his hands in something nefarious, man, because he conjures up these attacks and then he ultimately implement them, and he places the blame on other people. Okay, going into the time of Baby Bush, during the time of Manuel Noriega, basically he was in league with the CIA, okay, to fund weapons and drugs and so forth like that, and helping the CIA cover their tracks, and to the point they went and invaded it. And they, you know, put the people of Panama, which the Panamanians, according to the Bible, is the nation of Zebulon, okay, from the Guatemalas to Panamanians. But Esau sets up these governments, and then, you know, he assumes the identities, and then he go forth, okay? Because like it says here, oh shit, NATO escalates war in Ukraine with attacks in Belgorod, Russia using U.S. weapons, and redacted, okay, which redacted is the page, okay? So I have very limited information on that. It's been too much shit to really focus on. There's so much going on to the point I feel like my brain is going to explode, because I feel like I'm all over the place. I want to get in this and that and this and this and that. Then you got this thing, what they call life, which is a bunch of bullshit, you know. And then I got the finals of this stupid ass class that they're overly burdening us with. It's just too much going on at once, man. And it's, you know, tiring out, Jake. So, you know, Salaki, if my details are a little vague and not in depth, but we're going to do the best we can, man, because we're tired. But nonetheless, man, cyber attacks, that's an imminent thing, okay? And once this devil goes down, the whole world is going to know and rejoice in peace, okay? Because Esau Edom alone is responsible for the issues of the planet Earth, man, okay? From depopulation to, you know, what they call this cyber warfare, to this so-called global warming, which they're talking about climate lockdowns now, in which they're manipulating the weather, okay? Cloud seeding, they have all types of shit that they're doing to disrupt the flow of natural life, okay? To the point you got GMO mosquitoes, okay? You got fucking gnats all over the place, man. You know, things that just cause a goddamn nuisance, okay? Because this man is totally anti-life, okay? He's against life, okay? So all this thing that he's doing is craft, okay? It's craft, and this is deceit, because we know that his treacherous dealings, like the scriptures goes into riches got by deceit, the kingdom should be transferred to another people, because it's all based on deceit, which is a primary form of his witchcraft. Okay, Esau's witchcraft is one of his main utensils he's using to get this NWO off the ground. Okay, So this is the book of Daniel 8 and 25, and we know that this is going into Antiochus, but you have to qualify the scriptures. Shit, Salakia. Daniel 8 and 25. It says, and through his policy, also he should cause craft to prosper in his hand, and he should magnify himself in his heart, and by peace shall he destroy many. And it says, and he shall also stand up against the prince of princes, and he should be broken without hand, okay? Because now Esau is cornering himself. He's like a cornered rat now, okay? He's literally built himself up in a fortress that he can't escape out of. He's going to be held victim of his own devices, because the scriptures say, let them be taken in the devices which they have imagined, you see? So with the government officials getting these particular satellite phones, etc., that shows you that it's something big coming, okay? Because matter of fact, let me look it up real quick. What are satellite phones used for? Let's see what happens. Okay. Yeah, it says sat phones are mobile communication devices that provide worldwide coverage in places where the cell phone networks don't reach. Basically bunkers, okay? All this hell coming out of all the shit that Esau has done. Now he wants to retreat to those bunkers because you don't have access to just a regular cell phone tower underneath ground. Okay, sure, you may have some type of special Wi-Fi, but you better believe down in those bunkers they're going to have those special phones that can transport signals for meters up into miles from one bunker to the next. And when they need to make important phone calls, they just say, if you got some elites that's in bunkers out there in Germany, and then you got the elites out there in Switzerland that's in bunkers, and then you got some in Austria and some in Morocco somewhere in these bunkers, they're going to have to communicate with each other somehow, some way, through teleconference or something, okay? But it says, what is a satellite phone and why would you need one? So let's see what it says here. It says satellite phones are mobile devices that do not receive their signal via terrestrial and land-based. Terrestrial means of the earth, terrain, via land-based towers, but rather from satellites in orbit around the earth. So these are more advanced, okay? Like a case of an EMP strike over America, the whole country goes dark. They can still communicate with each other because our phones, through the cell phone tower outages, they would be broken down and there's no way to communicate. Okay, that's why, brothers, whatever, walkie-talkies and stuff like that will be, somewhat to benefit in the arsenal in case that, it will happen. But let's just say, if, brothers need to get into contact with each other to check on each other, walkie-talkies and stuff like that wouldn't be a bad idea, especially those that can transport 30, 40 miles because, just roughly estimating most brothers within these cities, they're within, between 10 to 30 miles apart. And you got certain walkie-talkies that can talk up to 50, 60 miles apart, depending on the range and depending on the ones you got. Okay, so, that's a good investment, but then again, the Holy Spirit is going to provide us through all things or see us through all things. And it says, but rather from satellites in orbit around Earth. Outfitted satellites offer Iridium, Globalstar, Thuraya, it says Inmarsat, GSPS, Inmarsat BGAN, and Inmarsat fleet broadband satellite phones / terminals. It says the functionality of satellite phones offered by outfitted satellite will vary by brand, but there will be no one that can be tailored to your specific needs, okay? It says, where can you use them? It says they're designed to work outdoors in many places that you are not able to use a cell phone, like in the middle of the sticks, bunkers. Some are designed for near global usage and offer safety and security features that cannot be provided by a traditional cell phone. See? So that's the point. And I can stop it there. All right? So that's through craft. That's craft, man. Okay? This is why this man has to go down because, hey, we know through the spirit, Esau Edom is planning something, man. That's why it says terror should drive him to his feet. Matter of fact, let's get that in the book of Job 18. All right? This is the book of Job 18. And I'm going to start at verses 8. It says, for he is cast into a net by his own feet, and he walketh upon the snare. He's basically entrapping himself, okay? With all the dealings, with all of the attacks, all the evil that he's conjuring out in the world is going to come back and is going to fall upon his head, okay? Because not only are they going to be affected by all this, but so is their people, okay? And people are going to seek to find the government. They're going to find these officials, and they're going to seek to put them to death. Okay, because the scriptures prophesied that. And it says, and a gent should take him by his heel, and a robber should prevail against him, and the snare is laid for him in the ground, and a trap for him in the way. So it's like, it don't matter, bro. You know, you can conjure up your cyber attacks to disrupt humanity. You know, you can come, because the point of this, one of the major points of this is getting people to bow down to the New World Order. Okay, he's going to force this shit on people by making them beg and plead for the necessities and the want of all the resources, man. Okay, when you hoard all the resources and you're controlling the narrative, you pretty much have the people under an iron fist. Okay, and it says, and terror should make him afraid on every side and shall drive him to his feet. And his strength should be hunger bitten and destruction should be ready at his side, right? Because he's going to go down. It's all going to come back on Esau, Edom, and through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, it takes place sooner than later. Okay, because they've been talking about rolling blackouts since last year. And in some of these states, they have experienced rolling blackouts. Okay, now as a collective, as far as grid outages, you know, not so much, but it's going to come a time that the streets of Babylon or the societies in America, it will be pitched. It's going to go dark and people are going to riot. People are going to fight. They're going to steal. They're going to kill. They're going to murder. They're going to rape. Okay, they're going to do all types of nefarious deeds in order to get what they need to get. It's going to be a dog-eat-dog world, and we're telling people it's going to get that fucking bad out here. All right? This is why he has to go down. This is Isaiah 14, and I'm going to start at verses 4. It says, thou should take up this proverb against the king of Babylon. Who is the king of Babylon? First and foremost, the elites. Okay, because they own America, they own the societies, lock, stock, and barrel. But you have the presidents, okay, your of these corporations. You got Biden, you have Trump, you have their particular cabinets that represent their administration. You see, and it says, and say, how have the oppressor ceased? The golden city ceased, right? And what's the golden city? America, because this was set up as a punishment for the Hebrew Israelites in judgment unto the nations. And it says here, the Lord hath broken the staff of the rulers of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers. But he who smote the people in wrath with the continual stroke, and he that ruled the nations in anger is persecuted and not hindered. Say he ruled in anger, because this man is he's psychotic, man. All right, when you take a group of people and move them from one part of the earth to the next, that's a psychotic individual, man. And you put them in involuntary servitude. That's a psychotic person, man. Okay, when you deliberately promote a Satanist to work at a prominent store, okay, of a Fortune 500 company like Target, to push pride clothing on children, that's a mad man right there. His ultimate end is destruction and death. All right. And it says here, he who smote the people in wrath with the continued stroke, he that ruled the nations in anger is persecuted and none hindereth. And the whole earth is at rest and is quiet, and they break forth into singing. Yea, the fir trees rejoice at thee, and the cedars of Lebanon say, since thou art laid down, no fellow has come up against us. But verse 9, hell is from beneath is moved for thee to meet thee at thy coming, and has stirred up the dead for thee, even all the chief ones of the earth, and have raised up from their thrones all the kings of the nations, because of World War III. Okay, the other nations are seeing what America is doing. They're seeing what these Western hegemonies are doing. Okay, causing conflict in different lands, you know, disrupting the global economy, because right now we're getting ready to see a global economic collapse, which all the nations are in bay with that. They're in league with it, but it's going to affect the lower people. Okay, and then that's going to cause them to go to war with Babylon the Great because of the destabilization of the nations, man. And that's Revelation, the 17th chapter. And it says here, and all they shall speak and say unto thee, art thou as become as weak as we? Art thou becoming like unto us? Because thy pump is brought down to the grave, which the pump goes into their pride. Okay, and the noise of thy vials. It says the worm is spread under thee, and the worms covered thee. But how art thou fall from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations, man? Okay, and that's Esau going into the so-called white man, starting with the Illuminati, the elites. Okay, because the word Lucifer goes into the Hebrew word Hayallah, which means light. Okay, so one more precept here. We got the point. But all hell getting ready to break loose in America, man. Thessalonians First Thessalonians 5. And I'm going to start at verses. Let's start at verses 3. It says, for when they should say peace and safety, then sudden destruction coming upon them, okay? Because the nations are screaming peace, peace, peace. You got Jake that's in that mindset of peace when there's no peace, because the scripture said there's no peace unto the wicked. And it says peace and sudden destruction coming upon them as travail upon a woman with child, and they should not escape. Escape what? The judgment. Hell, all hell breaking loose in America, man. But ye, brethren, are not in darkness, that day shall overtake you as a thief, because we understand what's going to happen. Yeah, it may come overnight, it may catch us off guard slightly, but we're going to instantly adapt to the situation, and we're going to know, okay, this is what's going on here. This is what this is what that is. We're going to instantly adapt to it because we've studied about it, we've read about it, we've trained for it. All right. And it says here, and ye are all children of the light and children of the day, and we are not children of the night nor of the darkness. Therefore, let us not sleep as do others, but let us watch and be sober. For they that sleep in the night, that they be drunken in the night, man. And that's these other groups. They're drunk. They're too busy brawling each other, man. And then you got these simple Christians coming up against this, steady trying to use replacement theology to engraft all nations in when there's no such thing as nations being engrafted in, man. Salvation is only for, has always been and will only be for Israel, no matter how much you try to cut it. Okay, there's no such thing as hell. Okay, hell is the grave and hell is a condition. Read the book of Jonah, the 2nd chapter, when it says he cried from the Most High from out of hell when he was in the belly of the whale. Think about it. Why would the Most High allow you to, you know what? And you know what? It's funny because of, and I'm gonna quote this nigga, man, and he made a good point. That nigga Alizé said that, for one thing, how the hell would the Most High allow you to go to a place that's worse than being a black man in America, bro? I mean, that right there, that was a shit. That was the head dropper. I mean, that's an excellent point because we've always taught hell is a condition. It's not a place you go to and burn forever. That's just totally unjust. This life alone is fucking miserable in hell. You know how hard it is to keep up with life and pump out the shows and study and be built up and remember precepts and go to work, go to school, try to take care of family, do what Esau needs you to do, pay bills. You know how fucking hard that's hell, man. It breaks you down. It breaks you down mentally to the point you're like, I don't want to do it no more. Talking about, you know, the things outside of the truth, of course. That's why balance is a proper thing, but that's a hellish condition. Look at Jake and the deploy. Okay, you got crackheads, okay, that's been introduced to crack rocks and fentanyl and all this other stuff, right? Living a horrible life. So the life that they live out of misery and agony, which that's the judgment already. Why would the Most High kill them and then send them to a place of everlasting torment when they've suffered enough here? That's an unmerciful God. But yet you teach that God loves everybody. A big contradiction, man. But anyway, that's a lesson for another time, giving all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. Shalom and the Bible.